Know your place. Seek my attention at your peril. Your limitations will be your downfall. Don't worry, I'm not finished yet.
Hey guys, welcome back. We are playing Camille today, a late game scaling split pushing machine, one of the absolute strongest top laners this patch. Her early game though is where she's supposed to be weak, but if you're using the rune page I showed at the start of the video, and you're also using Ignite, then even her early game can be really strong. So you will be starting out with the W level 1, that's gonna give you a lot of sustain if you hit people with the outer edge of it, also dealing more damage and also slowing people. Before you use it, try to go for a quick trade. You can trade auto attacks because you both want to lose some HP, so you can actually abuse that healing. So go for like one auto attack and then you can use the W and then you're gonna come out ahead of that trade. Also make sure to use the passive shield, and it can change. You can get a magic damage shield if the enemy champion deals mostly magic damage, and then there's also the physical damage shield. Your Q, guys, you can recast it once and it works as an auto attack reset, and then of course you know that the second part is going to deal true damage. In the early game though, you mostly focus on going for short trades, so you don't have to wait for the true damage part. You just want to get the damage off as fast as possible, and then you can use it as an auto attack reset. So we are slowly pushing in this wave here, and then we're gonna let it crash, and then what happens next is that we're gonna invade the enemy jungler so you can get some vision down, because it's a Master Yi, so he starts bottom side and then he's gonna look for gank top. So we crash this wave and then we're gonna head into the enemy jungle, pop that vision thingy so you can see where the enemy jungler is. And this is why lane priority is so OP, guys, because if you can move first, then you can help out your jungler with the skull crab, and then it's gonna put the enemy jungler super far behind. Also remember that your Q also gives you some bonus auto attack range and also temporary bonus movement speed, so even if your normal auto attacks are not within range, then your Q can still be within range. So this is what lane prior can do. We got the killer Master Yi, so he's gonna lose his skull crab and he's gonna get super far behind. Your E is your mobility spell. This is the reason why you can afford to go Ignite on Camille, making her early game stronger because you don't need flash. So you can go teleport and Ignite because of her absolute insane mobility. That of course gets even better as you get more levels into this spell. And also it can actually also make you immune to CC if you use it right. Basically what you want to do is that when you get hit by CC, then you have to make sure that your hookshot did not hit the terrain yet, because then you will still get pulled towards the terrain and then you can still like escape the CC ability. So it can also be used as a counter to you know, abilities like the Elise's Cocoon. So we got the Sheen part here, guys, and now the important part, the most important part is that you try to proc that Sheen with your Q true damage, because that works and that's gonna make you deal an insane amount of damage in the early game and even in the later stages of the game as well. You're gonna see the cooldown starting as soon as you use the first part of your Q. If you look at the Sheen item icon, guys, and then in order to use it with the second part of the Q, then you want to wait using it until you can see that the item is ready once again. Because then you convert that damage into true damage, and that is absolutely ridiculous on this champ, guys. This is what allows you to one-shot people later on in the game. So this champ is supposed to be weak early game, but she's not when you run Grasp of the Undying. Make sure to abuse that rune, force trades, and then you also have Ignite, so if somebody is ever low HP, then you can just all in them and then finish them off. It's also very important that you don't only use the E for the CC. Of course it's very good for engaging, but also keep in mind that the extra attack speed you get is absolutely huge as well. especially in the early game. That's why you can take it level 2 sometimes, you know, just to get that extra bit of damage off. And now we got the ultimate, so this is of course what Camille is known for. You can completely lock somebody down. They will not be able to flash away or anything. They would have to wait for this ultimate to expire or for Camille to die. As soon as you have this ultimate, then Camille becomes very good at setting up jungle ganks. So if your jungler is nearby, then you can ask him to come and help you, because this ultimate is pretty much a guaranteed kill. I like to look for roams on Camille when I showed in the enemy laner and I don't have anything to do in the top lane. Then you can look for roams as soon as you have that ultimate up, because if you get a kill in the mid lane, then you can also snowball your mid laner and then he can roam bot. So small leads will lead to much bigger leads. And when you get into the hard matchups as Camille, your goal is honestly just to survive the laning phase, because this is a scaling champ. Late game is why she's the strongest. You just want to get past the rough early game. And it's not even that difficult, just because you can run grasp. So it makes Camille's early game that much easier to play. If you run her with Conqueror, then it's going to be very difficult. So the entire point of Grasp of the Undying and the Resolve tree is to help you get past that difficult early game. Because you don't really need a keystone for the late game. You already have a ridiculous amount of damage. You know, your Q, second part of your Q, true damage, is gonna shred absolutely anyone. Yeah, make sure to weave in your auto attacks, abuse that Q auto attack reset, and then also abuse that Grasp of the Undying procs. Along with that W, so you get a lot of sustain and you also get really good trades off. Just make sure to get some really good vision down on the enemy jungler. And what you can do, guys, this blast cone right here, of course, is a very good tool for the enemy jungler to gank. So when you have the time for it, then try to get rid of this blast cone, because then they'll not be able to cheese gang you, because then they have to take the path around and then you can see them on the ward. You see this damage is absolutely insane. Shen is supposed to win in the early game, but because we are running Ignite and we also have Grasp, then we can take really good trades and then pretty much out-sustain him. He's playing with Flash and Ignite though, so he will not be able to teleport back to lane, so make sure to get those plates. Especially if you see him ult bottom side. We're going for a TP in the bot lane here. This is Camille post level 6, meaning you have the ultimate up, your ganks are absolutely insane. But you don't have to waste your ultimate unless you really have to. If you know the flashes are down on the enemy players, then you do not have to waste the ultimate, because then you can use that for another player. And then maybe get a second kill as well. So this teleport was really good. We're also getting a tower plate here, so we're sitting on a lot of gold. Meaning that we will be able to get the Divine Sundra on the first recall here, guys. Or on a full recall. Meaning that this is going to be a massive power spike, because this is where Camille starts becoming really strong. Especially this item is absolutely insane into tanks because of its health damage. But it can be good into pretty much anyone, because you're going to convert that damage into true damage because of how the second part of your Q works. Only problem is that compared to 24, you're not getting attack speed from this item. But it doesn't really matter that much, because you get that from your E already, so you still have a lot of damage. So this is the point where you should start winning in a lot of matchups that were previously really hard. That's why the scaling kicks in on this champ. You're gonna nuke people with the second part of your Q. As I mentioned earlier, make sure that you turn that Sheen passive into true damage. So make sure that that passive is ready before you use the second part of your Q. If you don't do that, then you're going to lose out on a lot of damage. Guys, so make sure to do that every single time. That is like the most important thing you can do. So Shen will not be able to trade with us anymore, as we have the Divine Sunderer. Of course, he has that ability that is going to block out auto attack damage, so make sure to bait that out first before you use that second part of your Q. Like I did right here, I just waited it out, and then of course he's not able to do anything anymore, so we have complete control over the lane. So Camille, the fun part on this champ starts as soon as you get out of the laning phase. You really want to force those 1 versus 1s on this champ. Even the matchups that are supposed to be hard, like the Fiora and the Jax, are skill matchups right now, so even those can be won, guys. Totally depends on how good you are at this champ. She's pretty difficult, she has a lot of mechanics, so it will take some time before you really master her kit, but if you do so, then it's very rewarding, and she's also one of the best top laners this entire season. Just try to get that tower down as soon as possible, because then you'll be free from that point and onwards, and then you can look for plays. But if possible, when you have teleport up, then you just want to stay in the side lane, and then of course you can use that teleport to help out your teammates if they somehow get caught. Just keep pushing. Your wave clear is of course not very good on Camille until you have the Tiamat. Then you get that AoE damage on your auto attacks, and then you have a bit better wave clear, and then you also get some sustain as soon as you get the upgrade. You can also look for the fruits. If you're low HP and you do not yet want to recall, then you can also head into the river after you pushed in the top lane wave and then get some sustain from the fruits. So because we were sitting on a lot of gold, I just went ahead and went for the Tiamat, but normally you want to get boots at this point in the game. Especially if you're playing against an AD top laner, you know, like a bruiser, because AD boots are really, or armor boots are really good against these types of champs and also the AD carriers. So Tiamat, meaning that we have a lot of extra damage and also extra AoE damage, meaning that our wave clear is a lot better now, so it's easier for us to push out the waves. You can see how much faster it is now, just because of that damage, AoE damage. So you're becoming better as a split pusher, just want to stay in the side lanes. Just keep pushing, scale up. You're playing for that 2-item power spike, so it means that as soon as you get Ravenous and the Divine Sunderer, that's where you have to start popping off. Because you can shred absolutely anyone you meet at this point in the game. Even hard matchups like the Darius can easily be won, especially when you have that Ignite up, which can counter a lot of healing as well. Just keep pushing, make sure that you stay in the side lane because you want to extend that solo XP and gold lead. As a split pusher, it is super important because you're gonna outscale most champs in the game. And the rough part is the early game, so if you make sure that you get all the XP and gold you can, then you can make that happen a lot sooner. Of course, you can make use of that W with your E to extend your super long range engage potential. It's very good for catching off people who are further away, because you just want to hit them with the slow of your W. You don't really care about the healing. As long as you get the slow off, then you should be able to catch up, and then you also have the ultimate to finish them off with. This is a basic combo right here. Is that when you E towards them, then you get the first Q off, and then while it's charging up, then you ult them. So you make sure that they will stay within range by the time your true damage part on your Q is ready. That's like the basic way of engaging with Camille. Also, another important thing, guys, is that when you ult people, it's not only used to log up people with, because it will also increase your damage. It's going to make your basic attacks deal bonus magic damage based on the target's current health. So against people who are stacking a lot of armor, you have the true damage part, and then you suddenly also have the magic damage part from this ultimate. So this champ is very good against bruisers and especially tanks. Just keep running to the side lanes. You can look for players around the map, but make sure that you always head back to the side lane. And if possible, you want to be on the opposite side of the where the main objective is. So right now, that is the dragon that is about to spawn, meaning that you want to be in the top side. Once the dragon is down, guys, and the only objective left is the herald, then you want to go bot. The reason being is that you want to kind of force the enemy players to go further away from the main objectives, so you can let your teammates do the objectives, or you can teleport in and help them and have the numbers advantage. You can see that Q damage, even without the true damage part, is absolutely insane right now, because you also get the Sheen, and then you also have the passive from the Divine Sunderer, which also gives you some nice pen, armor pen, dual pen actually. So this champ does become very obnoxious to play if you let her scale up into the later stages. Because this is the power spike you're playing for in Camille. Got the mythic item, and then you also got the Hydra. So you're gonna absolutely shred people while also having a lot of sustain, so you can take bad trades and then you can just heal back up from the minion wave. In the mid game, you just keep split pushing. Split push all the time. If you can kill the enemy laner, then that's going to be huge. But it can still be hard at this point in the game, but as long as you slowly will them down, go for short trades, then you will end up winning. Because if you get a kill on the side laner guys, then you'll be able to take down those towers insanely fast. Because you have the resets on your Q, you know, the auto attack resets. And then you also have the Sheen passive from the Divine Sunderer that works on the towers as well, so you're gonna be able to nuke those towers. So you can push out those waves extremely fast. Next item we're going for is the Xerx's Gauge. That is one of the more OP items right now. It's also one of the bigger reasons for why bruisers are so strong, because it makes them extremely hard to take down. So this season, bruisers are pretty much the new tanks, but they also have that insane damage, and that's why they're so OP right now. Most other bruisers have been nerfed, but Camille still remains one of the strongest. He has not been receiving any direct nerfs for a while now. So she's at the top of the tier list. It is an S+ top laner. So definitely a very good champ to pick up right now. The only problem is that her ban rate is also really high, so if you're playing high elos then it's going to be difficult, but I've noticed that people rarely ban this pick in lower elos, so very good champion to pick up, also super rewarding. And it is also a 1v9 champ, so it's a champ that you can solo carry with. As you can see, because the Baron is about to spawn, we are heading to the opposite side of where the main objective is. So we want to split push in the bottom side right now, guys. We want to force people to come bot. And if multiple people are coming bot, then our teammates can start the Baron, and then we can always teleport to help them out. So have to be really good at split pushing. And that of course also means that you need some good vision, so if multiple people are coming, then you can back off in time. You just kinda want to be annoying like that, keep pushing in the side lanes. Take away objectives. You can do those really fast, as long as you make use of that auto attack reset on your Q, and the Sheen passive on the Divine Sunderer. Extremely easy to burst down squishes, you're just gonna straight up one-shot them. And that Q damage is going to become a lot better in the later stages as well. But this is pretty much what you do on Camille, guys. It's a split pushing machine, so you want to focus around split pushing, and then you can use that ultimate to flank people with in teamfights. You want to go for the squishy targets, you know, the carries, and that's how you're gonna win on this champ. But this was the video. I hope this was helpful. As always, thank you so much for watching, and see y'all in the next one.